You sit down, you stand up, you walk across a room, and then you walk back, and you assume you've returned to where you started, that you're standing in the same place, occupying the same spot in space you were in a moment ago. It feels obvious, it feels true, but what if I told you that's physically impossible? What if there's no such thing as the same place in the universe? What if every location you've ever occupied exists only once, for only a moment, and can never be visited again? Not because you can't get back there, but because there has ceased to exist. Stay with me, because this isn't wordplay. This isn't philosophy. This is what happens when you take special relativity seriously. When you understand what space and time actually are at a fundamental level, and what you discover is so disorienting, so counter to everyday experience, that it changes the way you think about every movement you make. You are not traveling through space, you are creating a path through space-time, and that path never crosses itself, never loops back, never returns. Every moment of your existence occurs at a unique location in the four-dimensional structure of reality, and once you leave that location, it's gone forever. Let's start with what you believe. You believe space is a container, a three-dimensional stage where events happen. You believe you can move around on that stage, walk from here to there and back again, and the stage itself remains fixed. The same locations exist persistently. You can leave and return. You can occupy the same spot multiple times. You can stand where you stood before. That's what motion means. Moving through a pre-existing space that remains constant and unchanging, right? But here's the question that should make that picture collapse. Where is here? Think about it. Right now you're sitting somewhere. You call it your location. But your location relative to what? Relative to the room you're in? But the room is moving. It's on Earth, and Earth is rotating. 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. So in the time it took you to read this sentence, you've moved 20 miles eastward. Are you still in the same place? Maybe your location is relative to Earth's center. But Earth is orbiting the sun, 67,000 miles per hour. In the last minute, you've traveled 1,000 miles through space. Not the same place anymore, is it? Maybe relative to the sun? But the sun is orbiting the center of the galaxy, 500,000 miles per hour, and the galaxy itself is moving, hurtling through space at over 1,000,000 miles per hour relative to the cosmic microwave background. At every level you look, everything is moving. There is no fixed reference frame, no absolute space, no universal coordinate system where you can point and say, that location right there, and have it mean something independent of your choice of reference frame. Let me tell you something. This is what Einstein figured out. Space is not absolute. There is no privileged reference frame. Every observer has their own notion of simultaneity, their own definition of now, their own way of slicing space-time into space and time. And those slices are all equally valid. The three-dimensional space you think you're moving through is just one particular way of carving up four-dimensional space-time, and different observers carve it differently. Do you see what happens? The same place is not a well-defined concept. It depends entirely on your choice of reference frame. If you walk across a room and back, you've returned to the same spatial coordinates in the reference frame of the room. But in the reference frame of the sun, you're thousands of miles away from where you started. In the reference frame of the galactic center, you're millions of miles away. Which one is the real location? None of them. All of them. The question has no absolute answer. There is no such thing as position in space. There is only position in space-time. If you want to understand how the universe actually works, not just how it looks, but how it works, hit that subscribe button. Let's find things out together. Now I want to take this deeper, because the real issue isn't just that same place is reference frame dependent. The real issue is that you're not just moving through space, you're moving through time. And time is not something that happens to you. Time is a dimension you're traveling through, just like the spatial dimensions. And when you account for time, the idea of returning to the same place becomes not just ill-defined, but actually impossible. Think about space-time as a four-dimensional structure. 3 dimensions of space, 1 dimension of time. Your entire life, from birth to death, is a curve through this 4-dimensional space, a world line. Every moment of your existence is a different point on that world line. And here's the critical insight. That world line never doubles back on itself. It never loops. It never crosses itself. Because time only flows in one direction. You can return to the same spatial coordinates. You can stand in the same room in the same spot facing the same direction. But you cannot return to the same space-time coordinates because the time coordinate has changed. It's later. 5 minutes later, 5 years later, doesn't matter. The four-dimensional location you occupied before is in your past. It exists. It's a real point in space-time, but you can never get back to it, because getting back to it would require moving backward in time, and the universe doesn't allow that. Let's be honest about what this means. Every moment of your life occurs at a unique location in space-time that you will never visit again. Not just moments that feel significant, every moment, every breath, every footstep, every time you blink. Each one happens at a different point in the four-dimensional structure of reality, and once it's happened, that point is sealed off forever. You are constantly moving forward through space-time, leaving behind a trail of events that can never be revisited, never be changed, never be experienced again. You are not circling. You are not returning. You are creating a one-way path through a four-dimensional landscape, and every step is irreversible. Think about what this means for repetition, for routine. You wake up in the same bed every morning, sit at the same desk, walk the same streets, and you think you're repeating these experiences. You think you're doing the same thing again, but you're not. Each morning is a different point in space-time. Each walk is a different segment of your world line. The spatial coordinates might be the same, but the temporal coordinate is different, which means the location is different. Fundamentally, absolutely different. You have never done anything twice. You never will. Here's the part that keeps me up at night. If every location in space-time is unique, if you never return to the same place, then identity becomes problematic. Because the person sitting at that desk 5 years ago and the person sitting there now are at different locations in space-time, different points on the world line. And what connects them? What makes them the same person? Memory, causation, the fact that one evolved from the other. But in terms of space-time position, in terms of actual location in the four-dimensional structure, they're as separate as two different people in two different cities. They occupy different regions of reality. They exist at different coordinates. The only reason you think they're the same person is because there's a continuous world line connecting them. But that world line is not a thing, it's a process. It's a sequence of distinct events happening at distinct locations. And calling it one person is a choice, a useful fiction, a way of grouping those events together because they're causally connected. But in space-time, you're not one continuous entity. You're a four-dimensional structure, a worm stretched through time. And the cross-section of that worm at one moment, the person you are right now, is different from the cross-section at any other moment. You are never the same person in the same place, because there is no same place and there is no same person. Now here's where it gets truly disturbing. If spatial location is meaningless without a reference frame, and if temporal location is always changing, then what does it mean to be here? What does it mean to exist now? The answer is nothing. Here and now are not absolute features of reality. They're perspectival. They're the labels you apply to your current space-time coordinates from your particular point of view. But from other points of view, from other observers moving at different velocities, now is different. Events that are simultaneous for you are not simultaneous for them. Your now cuts through space-time at a different angle than their now. You literally inhabit different presents. And here's what that means. The present, the moment you think you're living in right now, is not a universal thing. It's not a cosmic instant that sweeps across the universe, making everything now at once. It's just your particular slice through space-time. Other observers have different slices, different nows, and all of those slices are equally real, equally valid. So when is now? The answer is, it depends on who's asking. There is no absolute present, no universal moment, no single now that all observers share. Time is relative, and that means the present is relative. And that means the very idea of existence, of being here, now, is relative. You don't exist in an absolute sense. You exist relative to your own world line, relative to your own reference frame. Do you see the paradox? You feel like you're experiencing this moment, this place, this now. But that moment, that place, that now are not absolute features of reality. They're artifacts of your perspective. From a different perspective, from a different state of motion, this moment is in the past or the future. This place is somewhere else. This now is not now. The universe doesn't have a present tense, only observers do. Let me tell you something. There's a concept in physics called the block universe. The idea is that all of space-time, past, present, and future, exists simultaneously as a single four-dimensional structure. Nothing is coming into existence. Nothing is passing away. The whole thing just is. Your birth, your death, every moment in between, all existing at once, eternally, in the timeless four-dimensional block. And if that's true, if the block universe is the correct picture, then you're not moving through time. You're not becoming. You're not changing. You're a four-dimensional object that already exists in its entirety. And your subjective experience of time passing is just the feeling of being a particular cross-section of that object, moment by moment, unable to see the whole. You think you're moving, but from the perspective of space-time, you're frozen, static. A permanent sculpture carved into the fabric of reality. Your world line is complete, already there, already happened. Every future moment of your life already exists just as much as every past moment. You're just experiencing them in sequence because that's how consciousness works. But they're all equally real, all equally present in the block. You are not traveling through time. You are time. You are a four-dimensional event. And the you experiencing this moment right now is just one infinitesimal slice of that event, unable to see the whole structure you're part of. And here's the devastating implication. If the block universe is real, then nothing ever changes. Change is an illusion created by consciousness moving through its world line. But from the God's eye view, from outside space-time, everything is static, eternal, fixed. Your choices, your actions, your entire life was always going to unfold exactly as it did because it's already there in the block, unchanging, permanent. You think you're free, but your entire future is already carved into space-time, waiting for you to experience it. But here's what I find beautiful about this. Here's what redeems the impossibility of return. If you can never go back to the same place, if every moment exists only once and then is sealed off forever, then every moment matters. Every location on your world line is unique, irreplaceable, precious precisely because it will never come again. You are not going in circles. You are not repeating yourself. You are creating something that has never existed before and will never exist again. A path through space-time that is uniquely yours, that no one else can trace, that cannot be undone or revised or experienced twice. You get one shot at every moment, one chance to be here, now, in this configuration. And then it's over, not lost, sealed, preserved forever in the block universe, yes, but inaccessible to you. Gone from your subjective experience, moved behind you on your world line as you continue forward into the next moment. Every step you take is into virgin territory. Every location you occupy is a place no consciousness has ever been before and will never be again. You are blazing a trail through four-dimensional space-time, and you can never retrace your steps. If this twisted your brain a little bit, good. That means it's working. I'll see you in the next one.